It doesn't require a lot of sanding.
There's a lot of flash on that.
Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Norm.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. All contractions today.
I know. Well, we've returned back to the original formula, the one that happened by accident the very first time we did the podcast. This is, so if you're listening, we're almost caught up. We're recording this the Tuesday morning after the live show.
That's true.
We're catching up to the future.
I'm actually staring at poor Akbar there, who looks like a detainee with a bubble wrap around his. It looks like an extra from 24.
Yeah, just
Right,
stand in the back.
There's some
with bubble wrap around his head and tape holding it down.
Yeah.
I'll have to release him so he can breathe.
And enhanced measures were taken on him.
Can I just say that I've had it with mannequins?
Mannequins suck.
All mannequins suck. I need to work with Frank to engineer a mannequin.
He's the right person.
I know. I just need to engineer a rigid foam mannequin that's posable, that freaking stands up, because these ones that I have, just every one of them is shitty in a different way.
The problem is that humans only have two legs.
I know.
It's hard.
I know.
And also the joints and the way we put on clothes, like the flex needs to be in a certain point.
Yeah, when you guys were dressing Zoidberg on the stage, I think I looked over at one point and you had both arms off of the mannequin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that you could get him in the appropriate level of arm waviness.
Totally. Yeah. And I just think that it's more, I don't know.
Wow, this is a Kickstarter idea.
It could be.
A cosplayer's
The problem
mannequin.
is that really good mannequins, like the kind they use in museums, those are $1,000 a piece.
Wow.
And it turns out that there's a reason.
Is it
like when I think through solving the problem, I have a hard time thinking about coming in at less than that.
But so this is one of those situations where they're $1,000 because there's a lot of mechanical work that goes in them, or they're $1,000 because they don't sell very many and they need to make enough money to stay in business?
That's a good question. I'm not positive.
Okay.
But from an engineering standpoint, you want the flesh, as it were, to be somewhat pliable so it can move. You want it to be posable so you can get it. Now, when you talk about posable and you're holding up an arm, if it has anything in it, even if it weighs 2 pounds, there's a tremendous amount of stress right here on the shoulder. And that means that you've got to have some mechanical arrangement that's both movable and rigid. That's expensive.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. Yes, you could do it with eye bolts and lock nuts and some heavy stuff, but to a degree that's fully 360 degree articulatable, maybe. Then that's not even the toughest problem. The toughest problem is you can't really support it through the feet like in the stores, because they can just take an old pair of shoes and drill holes through them. When you're doing costume stuff, I don't want to drill holes in my costume shoes, which means I've got to support from really the center of the back. And again, in any kind of pose, there's a huge amount of stress on the mechanical linkage right there. Now, again, I can make it out of welded steel and I can have it sock into a port that's on a piece of 1/4-inch plate, but frankly, I've been thinking about this for days. It's been driving me crazy.
So I think the easy solution next time we need a bunch of costumes on mannequins is just hire people to stand there in the costumes.
That, frankly, would be a lot easier.
I mean, because then you just hand them the clothes and say, "Go get dressed. We'll fix it when you're back."
Right,
and,
exactly.
But the robots will never replace us. They can't get their clothes on right.
Stupid robots can't get dressed.
Robots don't wear clothes, Norm.
Barely, yeah.
Also, they can't change diapers. Can you imagine when a robot makes a mistake changing a diaper?
It's bad enough when a human makes a mistake changing a diaper. The diaper changing robot, if you'd asked me 2 years ago if I would have paid for that, I would have been the first person in line prior to the birth of the child. But now it's
soft robotics. It's all about the soft hands.
It's the easiest of the tasks.
It's not that difficult.
Like you can do it asleep, you can do it standing,
and you have
a few thousand practices. It's a piece of cake. Like there's when Gina and I are like doing the negotiation over which. Well, I'll change the diaper if you do the dishes. I'll do the diaper every day. Yeah.
Wow. You're well on your way to 10,000 hours.
There's also this thing. The way that comes in is that you realize instantly something important about your parents, which is once you've wiped somebody's ass several thousand times, you can never fully take them seriously. There's always going to be part of you that's like, you're a helpless vegetable bean.
You pooped up your back once. Twice.
Just once. What a luxury.
Did you guys see the OK Go video?
Yes.
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, it's, they continue. Damian Kulash was on one of the morning shows. with his drummer, and they continue to be crazy charming and sweet, but to surprise. And what he says is they got a request from Honda to work with these things and go to Japan. And he said they showed up with an idea and then they work with these collaborators.
With the famous Japanese director.
And then they spent a month choreographing that. And frankly, at the end, I actually got a little weepy because it was so beautiful. Now, Julia says, really, on the spectrum of important things that you get weepy at is pretty much in the middle.
right in the middle. I mean,
it's like drop a hat.
There's a great exhibit right now at the EMP, at the Experience Music Project, that's just about music videos, it's the history of music videos. And there is a section on OK Go, which, for better or worse, they're known for music videos. They are known for the feats they do.
Yeah, I mean, it started with
the treadmill.
The treadmill, and then the dominoes.
Yes,
they did a Rube Goldberg domino video years ago. It was amazing.
The thing that Damien said that I really like is that they don't really make a distinction between the making of the music and the making of the thing about the music.
It's
like it's all part of the same creative process for them, and they all participate. And it's what it feels like. It feels as important as an album rather than a thing to help sell an album.
Do you think they ever just like sit down and they're talking about a song and they're like, maybe we should just shoot this one, just lit heads on a black background, just singing?
Use a mirror effect.
I bet they will.
And then transition into a piano.
No. Do you remember when Yes released like 17 music videos for the same song and all they were was different toaster treatments? Do you remember the video toaster?
Yeah, I've heard of the video toaster.
The video toaster was the proto, like, I can do anything in the world. And the video that exemplified it was a Cars video. Oh, God.
It's the one with the wavy lines and the kind of noise.
People's heads
over it,
turn
right?
into fish and all sorts. It's like clip art music video. And Yes did like 17 music videos that was just the total of them, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7, standing there while like video editors like flip them upside down and squish them and stretch them.
Boy. Oh, boy. And just think, if you wanted to do something amazing today, you could recreate that using iMovie on your laptop.
On your phone.
Yeah. Probably on your tablet. Yeah, phone and tablet.
Suffice to say, the OK Go's newest video is shockingly great.
You said the Honda approach, they work with Honda's advertising agency, because if you haven't seen the video, they ride these scooters.
Which I
know. Well, I went through the exact same phase where once I saw the video, I immediately went to Honda's website and like, where can I buy one of these? How much do they cost?
They're not available.
Not available.
Don't buy a scooter.
And then 2, I thought, wait a minute, this is Wall-E. Like, this is
how we all get
this
fat
is
and
exactly
stupid.
This is the hover chair. It's going to be blue next year. Like, it's the laziest thing ever.
It well, that's the thing about the, I own a Segway, and as you ride it, you can feel your ass getting big.
And then you're standing with that one.
Yeah,
with the Honda one, you're sitting.
I think it's very fascinating that they rent Segways to go through amusement parks with.
Oh no.
There's a fabulous Segway tour through my new town, Pacifica.
Oh, really?
Yes. Segway of San Francisco.
That's where I bought my Segway.
Oh, from Segway of San Francisco,
which is in Pacifica.
Yeah.
Yes. If you want to go, if you're in San Francisco, that's the place where you can get a tour of the beach.
Those guys bought into a brand new technology at the ground level and have been riding it all the way down ever since.
I love my Segway. I love it.
Do you use it in the city or just use it when you're on location and stuff?
I used it once to commute to work. And
Did you feel a lot of shame?
I did it just to have done it, and yes, I felt a lot of shame.
Were you like, come on, now
A propeller beanie?
I gotta ask questions
I was
about
not
this.
wearing a
No,
propeller.
but there's 2 Adam Savages that I see walking around San Francisco. There's like Adam Savage with the fedora and your jacket, and like distinguishable Adam Savage.
Yes.
And then there's incognito Adam Savage. I'm not going to give any details on that, but were you incognito Adam Savage, or were you?
I think I was incognito.
Okay,
I think I was
that's probably
wearing
best.
a different hat. Yeah.
The Segway failed. I mean, 1, because it was expensive, but 2, it failed because it was too weird. Because in the court of public opinion, the public immediately deemed that's weird.
It's the
We're
Google
not gonna
Glass
accept
problem
this.
and all the other stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it ends up being, Dean Kamen has a thing he says to his engineers all the time, which is, are we making a south-facing compass? Now, this is based on a piece of Chinese hardware that the Chinese use, and it was a gear train on a cart that they used. And it's a beautiful little intricate gear train. And what it did was, if you started that cart while the arrow on top of it was pointing north, no matter which way you turn the cart, that arrow always points in the same direction. And so it always gave you a bearing when you were traveling as to where you'd come from.
Okay.
Right?
It's really cool.
Now, this is a lovely device, which is completely obviated by a magnetized needle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? The compass renders it obsolete. And then it becomes a ludicrously ornate execution of something that can be done really simply. And the Segway, while I don't think it's a south-facing compass, it is the number of engineering successes within a Segway are jaw-dropping. The battery life, the motor power, the balancing, the torque, the feedback loops.
Recharging, all that stuff.
All of that is really, really impressive. Really, like, to be, astonished by. But it solves a problem that wasn't really a problem.
Well, but it is, I mean, so the problem that it tries to solve, which is it's hard to get from your house to public transit, right?
Yeah.
Is not solved because it's too big to take on public transit.
Yeah, it's true, and too heavy. Oh, and by the way, if you want, you could pause the podcast right here and just spend 5 minutes going and Googling or YouTubing Segway fail.
Oh God.
Oh, my father crashed a Segway when we did the Pacifica Segway tour.
When my kids were like 6, we brought the Segway out to a park, and both of them were run over by the Segway within 10 minutes. One ran over the other, and then I ran over that one.
There was a little bit of a learning curve. As intuitive as they try to make it, there's a little bit of a leap of faith to lean into and actually.
A little like kayaking, in the way
kind
that
of.
kayaking requires a sort of a balance of a center of mass that becomes second nature almost instantly. The Segway is a very...
But yeah, I do want to try the Honda thing.
Oh, totally.
The OK Go video is incredible. They shot it at half speed.
Yes, I figured that out by myself.
Really?
And then they rehearsed it. Guess how many times they had to rehearse it?
I'm going to guess.
Or
100 times?
Oh, not that many.
Okay.
50 to 60 times.
Yeah, it's an astonishing amount of. You just got to see it. And by the way, you totally missed my segue.
Yes, the segue.
Segue to amusement parks.
It's the most fitting segue.
That was a really amazing segue.
Spelled both ways.
They rent it at amusement parks, and we were talking before the podcast. I'm probably going to Disneyland in a little bit.
And he asked me if I go taking the kids to Disneyland, and I was like, "F that noise!" Like their grandparents could take them to Disneyland. I want no part of amusement parks that don't make any sense to me. Standing in lines, waiting for rides that make you sick while you eat food that makes you sick with a bunch of children who are unhappy. It's called the happiest place on earth, and I look around and nobody's happy.
I think the kids are happy.
I had a good time. I have very fond mememories of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Okay.
Which is now no longer exists, I think.
No, it's there, but
it's in Disneyland, but not in Disney World anymore.
And it's a crappy ride. It's a pretty crappy ride.
You just shit on his childhood.
I'm sorry. I also had fond memories of that ride when I was a kid.
You're saying don't get on Mr. Toad when you go back?
That ride. Keep that in your brain.
Oh, okay.
Nostalgia.
If you want to hold on to
comfort
this,
you.
So Norm's already had his childhood.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we know his childhood. Norm's inner child is
That's why I had to go back to
tiny
Disneyland.
shell of a man.
That's why I gotta go. Gotta get the juice back.
But we went. I mean, we were poor when I was a kid, so we didn't go and like load up on food and stuff because we were the sandwich packers.
Right.
And we would go and kind of do Disney World stuff all day. But the thing that we learned the first day we were at Disney, this is in Orlando, not in Southern California, is that as soon as the fireworks starts, the lines for all the rides just evaporated.
Oh.
So like at parade time and at firework time, you could go get and pretty much walk right onto stuff, which made the lines a lot better. And also now they have all these like line amortization issues where you like scan something and then it says, come back in 25 minutes. And you'll just walk right on.
Yeah. That's good. It doesn't.
The infrastructure fascinates me.
Like as a design
totally
challenge,
agree.
Disney World and Disneyland are fascinating.
When I went to Disney World and I saw one of their 3D films. But what most astonished me about the 3D film was that they could fill a 4,000 seat auditorium in about 6 minutes.
That's amazing.
With continental seating, no aisles. People just moved in through doors on one side. They sit, watch for 10 minutes. They're out, and while they're out, another group comes in.
Well, that's the thing. Like when I went to Disney World as an adult, I had a friend who got married in Disney World when I was 24, 25.
What?
It's a long story.
Better than Hello Kitty Land.
There's a Hello Kitty Land?
Yeah. Jane, the writer of Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
Really?
She got married there.
Oh, right. Or Steve Ross's
Yes,
wife.
yes.
They got
They
married.
got married at Hello Kitty
What?
Land. Yes.
Wossie got married at Hello Kitty
Yes,
Land.
he's a total Japanophile.
Wow, that's far out.
Not really a kitty, you know.
No, wow. That's far out. I've just started letting that wash over me.
But anyway,
There's footage of it. You can find it. He talks about it on his Japanorama miniseries.
Amazing.
prior to the wedding, we were at Pleasure Island, I think is what it's called, which is a lift from Pinocchio.
Oh, okay.
Pervert. And I was walking around, and it's like movie bars. So you're walking around in this place, and everywhere you go in, it's like a different theme. It's like that episode of The Simpsons. You go in, and there's like a bar where it's New Year's Eve every hour, or you go into a bar where it's like old
Right.
Western bar, like the most amazing movie-looking sports bar you've ever seen, or and you're like, it's like an artifice of a thing from a movie. It's the same kind of level of artifice, except for it actually works. You can go and get drinks there.
Right.
And then the thing that ruins the whole effect is that when you need to go to the bathroom, you go back in the dingy dark corner in the back of the bar, but instead of there being like one toilet and one sink and a line with 65 people, you go in and there's like 70 urinals and it's all brightly lit, and there's paper towels and there's toilet paper, and it doesn't look like anybody's exploded anywhere. And it's really nice.
Wow.
Yeah, it kind of makes
So it's
you
both comforting and yet it ruins the illusion.
It's like I said, I like going to Disney World because it's an amazing design place.
Yeah.
So would you never want to be an Imagineer?
Don't get me wrong. I would love to be an Imagineer. I know a bunch of Imagineers.
Dave Goldberg is an Imagineer.
Dave, yes.
Yeah, the guy who made your Blade Runner Stubmos kit.
Yeah, no, dude, it's beautiful, beautiful stuff, and beautiful design challenges that they confront. And I would love to go work with those guys. In a heartbeat.
Right. Talk about makers at the most elite level.
And you're right, actually, the engineering challenges that Disney World and Disneyland achieve and succeed at is astonishing in terms of movement of people, but also providing of an experience. I love Boing Boing's regular fascination and obsession with the haunted house.
Oh, Cory Doctorow.
Yeah, Corey's been in. Well, he wrote a book.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's yeah.
The Haunted Mansion.
About the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
It's funny because the Haunted Mansion is one of those things that I didn't appreciate as a kid at all. Like, we went through the Haunted Mansion despite my parents' misgivings that it was going to give everybody involved nightmares. And when I went back and saw that as like a 24, 25-year-old, I was like, this is an incredible thing considering that it was built in like 1962.
Yeah.
And is essentially, I mean, they've added and removed stuff, obviously, but like the core technologies that they use are unchanged.
Literally smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, that is another segue.
And that is a hugely popular attraction this time of year.
Oh yeah. Well,
because
nice.
last week was
Excellent.
Halloween.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well done. There's a good segue.
Yeah, we're throwing softballs today, guys. Adam, when you go trick or treating, do you take your Segway or do you just go on foot?
Oh, nice. I should I should use the Segway with like the alien spacesuit for maximum incongruity.
You should just dress up as a Segway for Halloween and then ride the Segway around.
I actually have a Roman chariot front for it that I built for one of our episodes. It looks
my God,
awesome.
that's amazing.
And it's got a bas relief in gold foam core of me shooting Jamie with arrows. Halloween is one of those. I love Halloween. I grew up loving Halloween. I very specifically remember the early 70s when the most popular I can't think of anything Halloween costume was a hobo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
stick
little,
with the...
little
Yeah.
ash black on your cheek with a bandana on the end of a stick.
Yes.
And like just
You
took
could red
some
up
old
your nose
jeans.
a little bit if you want to be a wino.
Exactly.
Yes,
like
very
this
little-
was like
little
we
rascals.
romanticized homelessness. What assholes?
Singing or stabbing.
Right. Singing or stabbing?
Which kind of hobo?
Which kind of hobo?
Singing or stabbing. Where did you get that
That's The
metric from?
Simpsons. It's a classic Simpsons reference. There's only two kinds.
It's amazing. Sorry, I
we
didn't
broke
need a moment
Adam.
to recover. That is the very essence of the whole thing. All right, so oh my God, I love you guys. By you guys, I mean the Simpsons writingers room. Writingers room.
Except for Conan O'Brien.
No, him
Did
too.
you see the Madeleine Albright thing?
No.
So Conan O'Brien said he was going to dress up as sexy Madeleine Albright on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then Madeleine Albright responded, I was thinking about going as sexy Conan O'Brien, but it might have been too far a stretch.
Nice.
Yes.
I love that kind of owning.
Yes.
Did you see Ebola costume and sexy Ebola costume?
Oh, sexy. I already ordered a sexy Ebola costume. Guess what I'm going to Halloween as?
What's sexy Ebola costume?
It's basically a hazmat suit with a short
It's
skirt.
a bunny suit with a skirt. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, there is irony is totally dead. It's the did you read the Great Onion Gamergate article? That's,
Oh,
Gamergate
yes.
is a thing, or maybe it isn't. If it isn't, write us and we'll change this. Please
Yeah.
don't hurt us.
Let us know
lovely.
everything we should change.
Let us know what mistakes we made.
Yeah. So, I mean, Onion couldn't have come up with a joke as good as sexy Ebola costume. Like, they must be like, damn reality.
Well, but you knew that was going to happen. You knew it was
I
only
guess
a
if
matter
you
of
thought it
time.
all the way through.
Yeah.
They were sexy corn. Come on.
Sexy corn.
Candy corn.
I do remember, though, specifically the first time I wanted a costume and actually got it. Because we were poor, too, growing up. And, I didn't get a lot of things that I asked for because my parents couldn't really afford. There you go.
Oh
Whoop,
my
whoop.
goodness.
But in 1976, Jaws came out. And there was a Jaws costume,
Oh, boy.
which is, I mean...
Was it like just a big shark over your head?
Oh,
like you were coming
you
out
are
of...
so optimistic.
Yeah, no, it was a piece of plastic.
Paper-thin vacuum formed plastic of the shark's head that was this big.
Yeah.
Okay, but
With a vinyl shirt that had the movie poster on it.
So that was the default.
That was the default for all costumes.
Yeah, like if
when
you got
we
a
were
Spider-Man,
kids.
it was a mask, a vacuum formed mask
Yeah.
with
And then the
maybe it had like something that looked like a Spider-Man costume, but usually it was just like the Spider-Man logo
Yeah.
and like
That was
copyright
all
Marvel.
costumes when we were kids, Norm. Wow. Life was really dark back then.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing the Jaws costume at Tundi's record shop over on Beekman Avenue and saying to my mom, I wanted such. And lo, like the day before Halloween, my mom was like, come here. Open. I was like, the Jaws. And I was like super happy.
Of course.
It didn't take much.
So my
Kids these days with their dads making full foam stormtrooper costumes, they're spoiled.
those kids.
Getting Adam Savage to make a Doc Ock costume.
I'll only do that for other people's children.
My mom always used to make costumes for us.
Did she?
So she'd ask what we wanted to be a couple weeks out, and then she'd sew something together. Just as often, like I think they had weird parties probably before I was born or just after, because there was always a big trunk full of like feather boas and costumes and stuff like that. Because they always went to a lot of costume
Your
parties when I
parents'
was a
secret
children.
history.
My parents' secret history. I'm not ever going to ask about that one. It was the 70s.
of
Everybody
keys,
did all
Mom.
sorts of stuff. Yeah, exactly. They went to costume parties, so they always had his and hers hobo costumes. My dad was an auctioneer, so they had.
Sorry. Okay. I'm just
He was
letting that
he was a
one
realtor and rolled straight into auctioneering when the real estate market crashed. It's a thing that people do.
Right, I'm going to auction off the properties I can't sell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And then he bought a Model A reproduction in 1981 when Ford released those on the 75th anniversary or something of the car. And that was like the motto for the auction company. Because if you're an auctioneer, you have to have a gimmick. And he had the Model A, and he would dress the kids up in clown costumes, and we would ride around in the Model A in the back and throw candy at people at parades and stuff like that.
Wow.
All marketing, right? He was kind of a shyster, also. It turns out, I guess.
Really?
He was a little bit of a bit of a
con man?
a little bit, not a con man, but he was on the genius scale, where Fred Flintstone is at one end with crazy ideas and Sergey Brin is at the other. Yeah. He was more on the Fred Flintstone side, I would say.
Well, that's not the shyster. I mean, shyster is like he's going to cheat somebody.
Okay, so then he's definitely not a shyster. He never tried to cheat people.
Okay.
But he always was trying
had
to.
like,
Shyster.
feed mayonnaise to tuna fish like that.
It occurs to yeah, not quite that far, but dial it back like 10%. You're right there. Is shyster a slur that we have to remove?
It could be.
Stop saying it. You're gonna have to remove it.
Let's just roll back.
What was Astro Teller's brilliant idea? Oh, right, a pillow that combs your hair while you sleep.
Yes.
I love that idea.
Yes.
Caressing pillow.
Right? It turns out that it's actually purchased by lonely people. Strokes your head. It's
okay.
It's like one of those body pillows with the Fabio printed on one
I like
side.
the robot prairie dogs that dig for gold.
As seen on TV, must dig through the trash of Google X. Just for all the ones that don't make it through the door, come our way. Sky Mall's knocking.
Okay,
We've gone pretty far afield here.
so my best childhood costume.
Yeah.
I had a Luke Skywalker costume that was awesome. It was Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker, which is basically black pajamas with a cape. And capes are always cool with a
Capes
hood.
are always cool.
And then my mom also dressed me up. I really liked Alice in Wonderland when I was a little kid, and she dressed me up as the Cheshire Cat. But it's hard to do a Cheshire Cat costume, so I was actually the tree that the Cheshire Cat was in, and she painted the Cheshire Cat with fabric paint on the torso in a hole. That was
On your belly?
on my chest, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't have a belly then. I was a skinny kid, Norm. Norm, what were you
Well, I was
Halloween
thinking that
folks?
in the early 90s or late 80s, for me, there's a lot of peer pressure for kids.
We can say shyster.
Okay, good.
There's a lot of peer pressure in elementary school.
Did you go, hold on? Did you go to is this a slur or not.com?
I just looked up its etymology, and its wiki page just says that there's a lot of disagreement about the etymology, and it's often suggested that it has an anti-Semitic origin, but there is no proof of that.
Oh,
No
okay.
proof.
Well, our intention was not to be anti-Semitic,
Of
just
course.
to be clear.
Of course.
Okay.
At any rate,
Yeah, so I think I at least remember all the costumes I had in elementary school because if you didn't have a costume, that's it.
Oh,
You're
really?
ruined for life.
really?
Yeah.
Well,
they would
because you
take
did Halloween at school.
Halloween at school, and
see-
they would take all the kids out and do a parade, which is like everyone walks in one line around the courtyard, and
But if you didn't have a costume, what were you just were on the sidelines,
yeah,
or you had to
yeah.
walk as I'm Joe Smith?
I'm a hobo.
you didn't get to walk, and all the kids you had to have some costume.
Wow.
Didn't even do great, and you probably didn't want to be that great. You want to stand out that much.
Yeah, you didn't want to be
Yeah, I never got that memo.
blending in.
I tried to. So I made the two costumes I can distinctly remember for Halloween. Oh, I'm sorry. At least several years in a row, we would go to Baskin Robbins, where the ice cream came in those giant tubs.
Yeah.
The cardboard tubs, and you could buy the tubs, or they would give you the tubs
Empties.
empties. So I would get empties, and at least 2 or 3 years, I cut a hole out and made a space helmet.
Yeah, why not?
Out of the cardboard tub of Baskin Robbins. Because where else are you going to find a bottomed cardboard cylinder you can cut up and draw on? But I also made 2 suits of armor in high school. I made one out of cardboard in my freshman year of high school, which was the year that Excalibur came out. And then I made one out of aluminum with my dad in my junior year of high school, which there are no pictures of. There are literally no pictures of this costume because because the person going around the school taking pictures didn't get to me because I had passed out of heat exhaustion by third period in the middle of math class. Wow. Seriously, woke up in the nurse's office.
Did you have the helmet on the whole day? Had you taken
No, I'd taken the helmet off, but I still was
just
I'd
that
worked
hot?
full.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
This is like a close-fitting roofing aluminum metal skin.
Did you just rivet it into place around you, basically?
No, not around. It was buckled.
Okay. You weren't just sealed in.
No.
Get the can opener, Gladys.
Yeah. Wow. And frankly, it was those days of wearing costumes that started my lifelong fascination with them. Because I was a lonely kid. I didn't get along I didn't feel like I had a place. I think I got along with people okay, but I didn't feel like I had a place. And the costumes were definitely this I remember in another, maybe it was senior year, I had one piece left from this costume, which was this armband. And Road Warrior had come out, and had come out, and I dressed up this armband to be kind of Road Warrior-y, and I had a gauntlet, and that was my costume. I'm kind of the Road Warrior. And I remember this one of my fellow students making fun of me, look at Adam's all confident and shit because now he's got metal on him, and he was totally right. I did feel confident with the medal on me. I felt like totally, like a different person.
And that hence cosplaying.
Yes, totally.
I think that's as good a place as any.
By the way, if you're wondering why the light behind us is going on and off, it's because the power supply that powers all of these strip light LEDs is dying and it's overheating. And I just haven't gotten around to buying a new one. That's all.
We should glue a fan on it.
Well, I think we can just buy it. They're like $20.
Oh, well, in that case.
In that case, Amazon, here I come.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for you, Norm?
Ninja Turtles. I had Ghostbusters. My dad painted a mustache on me. I'm not sure exactly why.
Were you
Ghostbusters?
Gomez Adams?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember that distinctly. Why are you doing this? Like, but
You're a man now, son.
My son is taking my Ghostbusters costume to school on Friday.
Ah.
Yeah.
We're dressing up my daughter as a panda from her favorite book, Tuesday.
That's awesome.
Yeah. She has goggles and the whole thing.
My other son, totally not interested in Halloween. Are you going out? No. You dressing up? No. Why not? Just not interested.
He's too cool for it.
He's not in the right window. He's got like 3 more years before he gets in the window where Halloween is. Well, maybe he's not. I don't know what high school is.
Oh my God!
I think he's just not interested. His brother's very interested, and again, they're twins. So differentiation means that they're often going to gravitate towards opposite things.
That makes sense.
True. My brother loves Halloween.
Your brother seems like a Halloween guy.
Oh yeah, he's a Halloween guy.
The one I met at Comic-Con?
Oh yeah. I'll tell you this, and we'll finish with this. I saw on Instagram what he's going for his Halloween. You saw my brother. He loves Batman, and he loves to show off his muscles. So he's doing a Spartan Batman armor, where he has a Spartan shield with a Batman logo on it, and then he gets to
I think it's a great costume.
The thing I can't figure out still is whether Norm is the evil one or Norm's brother is the evil one.
Who is Kane?
Right.
But Hugo Scar's on the left side. That means Bart was the evil one all along.
And on that note, we'll see you guys next week.
Oh, I hope you had a happy Halloween.
Yeah, hope you had a happy Halloween. And tell us your Halloween stories in the comments.
Yes, please. With pictures.
We have a bunch of new podcasts on the site by the time you hear this. Creature Geek, which is Frank Peralta and Frank Ippolito and Len. Well, they got married. Frank Ippolito and Len Peralta, Len's wife, would have been really upset about that. They talk about special effects, makeup, and creature design and stuff like that. Frank, of course, is an expert at that stuff. Len is a super fan, and the conversations thus far have been very good. There should be, I think, 2 episodes up now, and they talk about last week's episode of Still Untitled on the most recent episode. Oh, and they had a Halloween episode of Creature Geek as well.
Awesome.
We have Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is where my wife and I sit down and talk about all sorts of stuff, board games, and what it's like for her to live with a horrible nerd like me. And
to be an assassin.
Yeah, and also we kill people.
Excellent.
And then a bunch of dads, which is the long-running dad cast with 4 or 5 dads, depending on the week. That they all have their own feeds now. They're all on tested.com/podcast. You can find them by pulling down the menu and subscribe from there, or find them on iTunes. And ratings are always welcome for that kind of stuff too. So that'll do it for us this week.
Fabulous.
Thank you, Mr. Savage, Mr. Chan.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.